Wow, thank you, Dean Watson, for that lovely introduction. First, I would like to thank City University of New York Chancellor Matthew Goldstein, trustees Jay Hershenson and Frida Foster, Dean Steve Shepard, David Remnick, editor of The New Yorker magazine, Robert Isaacson, the executive director of CUNY TV, and the distinguished faculty with me on the stage today. Welcome and thank you to the dynamic and talented class of 2011. Thank you for electing me to speak on your behalf. I am humbled and honored. Your remarks inspired me, you inspired my remarks today. Thank you, Dean Shepard, for overseeing our buzzing J-School newsroom with pride in your eyes, getting to know each and every one of us by name within the first few days of orientation. Dean Watson, we are forever grateful for your calmness. It carried us through some of our most frenzied moments. We'll also fondly remember your doing the Dougie at one of our unforgettable social gatherings. Dean Doherty, or Steve as we call him, will remember you as a jolly, good-natured administrator and host of our social events, not to mention your openness in discussing the politics of NABJ at the dinner we shared in Philadelphia last summer, and of course, picking up the tab. My fellow classmates of 2011, we did it. All of those hours kvetching and juggling classes, each with simultaneous deadlines across 3 different media, are now over. We survived Tropical Storm Irene, a tornado, blizzards, the rapture, Occupy Wall Street. We put aside Facebook socializing, part-time translation jobs, romantic breakups, and other distractions long enough to accomplish something we can all be proud of, a Master of Arts degree in journalism. Give yourselves a huge round of applause. In the words of David Byrne of the Talking Heads, we now may be asking ourselves, how did I get here? 18 months ago, we were just getting to know each other and ourselves as journalists. In Craft One, under the watchful eyes of our craft and research professors, we were all put through the trenches as student reporters for the award-winning New York City News Service, covering parts of the city other big media outlets only wish they knew as well. We've been published, and thanks to our own hard work and the editorial guidance of the New York City News Service. Thanks to our interactive department, we learned killer multimedia and entrepreneurial skills to move our journalism careers forward. While movies like Page One and countless doomsday articles painted a pretty bleak picture of the news industry, we remain undeterred. We are grateful to the law and ethics team for exposing us early and often to the ramifications of phone hacking during the landmark Chiquita Banana and Cincinnati Enquirer case. This only helped us contextualize the allegations that exploded in News Corp's face last summer. We learned how endangered the evening news broadcast model is and that it is up to us to reinvent it for a digital age. Thank you to our broadcast department and CUNY TV tech staff for resuscitating our DOA video packages, our overmodulated radio stories, keeping us ahead of the curve and salvaging our 219 West newscast when we found the studio flooded mid-semester, or even working behind the scenes to get our live podcast to air locally and nationally. We couldn't have done it without you. Throughout the semester, as reporters, we understood why there are no happy subjects in international reporting. We strive still to give a voice to the voiceless. We learn to constantly challenge the status quo, cast a critical eye on our political and corporate leaders, uncover the underreported human stories of our communities across print, broadcast, and web. At the CUNY J-School, we became the best international, urban, arts and culture, business, and health reporters we could be, and were held to the highest professional standards. Using top-notch equipment and computer tools, there was no story we couldn't tell. Thank you to our IT and equipment room staff for all of your invaluable support. We shared the news of Osama bin Laden's death and witnessed the birth of the Arab Spring. The revolution was not just televised. It was tweeted, blogged, YouTubed, and then went viral. We occupied Wall Street, then occupied our newsroom to file deadlines on what seemed like file stories on what seemed like impossible deadlines. Healthcare reform, affordable housing, the children of 9/11, immigration, the global financial crisis, natural disasters, and war may have all left us wondering if we can make a difference. But the J-School has given us tools and skills not only to write, but also produce, edit, voice, and code the first draft of history. We've already begun. We were read in the venerable New York Times. Hana Miet broke the story of an elitist school's dating site, while Nitha Najar's story on Indian applicants to US colleges made the front page. Lily Rothman recently defended the use of adverbs in The Atlantic. Nathan Frandina was published by the World Policy Journal website. Ian Champ produced a segment on Thanksgiving turkey and sex for NPR's Freakonomics. Carmel Delshad, Kirsty Itzumiri, and I were published on the New Yorker website for our photos and video on New York's Little Egypt after Mubarak stepped down. In Bloomberg Business Week, Patrick Clark investigated how the Arab Spring forced political violence insurance premiums to skyrocket. Last summer, we fanned out across the country and around the globe to some of the most well-known news organizations out there. We interned and freelanced all over New York's 5 boroughs, in Singapore, San Francisco, Jakarta, New Orleans, Santiago, Delhi, Los Angeles, Monrovia, Cairo, Washington, D.C., Jerusalem, and Kiev. Our career services office was a big part of our success last summer, for which we are grateful. And let's not forget the entire J-School staff. 1.5 years ago, who would have guessed we'd have traveled so far covering important news stories? While I was staking out Dominique Strauss-Kahn's every move in New York, Jonathan Vitt and Anne Haifeng were making their way down lots of dark, unpaved alleys in Bali looking for stories about sex workers. Patrick Wall covered the passage of the landmark gay marriage law for the Christian Science Monitor, while Nick Rizzi live blogged the first day same-sex marriage was legal for the New York Daily News. Sally Tiang traveled across the country with ABC News covering immigration stories. We'll remember how the J-School has welcomed special guest speakers and memorable panels, including Times reporter Stephen Farrell, just hours after his return to the US following his 6-day detention in Libya. Not to mention our rousing discussion on coverage of women of color in the age of Michelle Obama. Devouring leftovers the next day went down as yet another J-School ritual we won't soon forget. In the newsroom, who could forget Anais Morales' daily greeting filled with expletives I almost wish I could share with you. Or even Cesar Bustamante photobombing every picture with his inimitable thumbs up and a smile. Wasn't it just comforting to see him working so diligently at this J-School all day, every day, breaking only for orange juice and speculoos on bread? And won't we all miss hearing Ian Chan's voice roaring aloud from any point within the newsroom? After graduation, we will report on the national and local 2012 campaign, the economy both here and abroad, unemployment, since of course we'll all be working, and the Yemeni GOT trade. Because yes, Franz Koster, you know we're all counting on you to see that story go to print soon. One final note about our class of 2011, many of us come from underrepresented groups, and 52 out of 82 of us are women. Statistics hardly reflected in the mainstream news industry decision-making world. As reinforced by the 2010 census data released last spring, the United States is becoming more diverse, not less. So to all the bigwig newsroom executives listening, watch out. We are the voices of many and a force to be reckoned with. Thank you. Thank you.